The call goes to the member for North Sydney.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Health and Aged Care. My constituent, Port Whitman, has mantle cell lymphoma, but the therapy he needs, CAR T-cell therapy, is not funded for his condition. The therapy is already accessed by Australians with other conditions, and it was recommended by the Medical Services Advisory Committee for treatment of mantle cell lymphoma 2 years ago. Consequently, we have a system that delivers inequitable access to life-saving treatments. Why is this therapy being withheld from patients like Paul?
Give the call to the Minister for Health and Aged Care.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for North Sydney for that question. And can I extend my best wishes to Mr Whitman and his family in a difficult battle against mantle cell lymphoma, a relatively rare form of blood cancer. I want to say a couple of things about this type of therapy before I come particularly to the one that the member for North Sydney has asked about. This is a relatively new therapy, a cutting-edge therapy that extraordinarily, frankly, extracts a patient's T cells, sends them off somewhere to be modified to equip that T cell to fight a particular cancer, and then re-injects them back into the patient. And this therapy is proving very successful in battling, at this stage at least, a number of types of blood cancer. Until now, T-cell therapy has required the T-cells to be sent either to Europe or to America and then come back to Australia to be re-injected into the patient. But I'm delighted to say that a few weeks ago I opened the first manufacturing site in the Southern Hemisphere at the very well-renowned Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre down in Parkville in Melbourne, which will mean from now on we're able to do our own modification here in Australia in sufficient numbers to cover the entire Australian market and also provide some export capability to the region. CAR T-cell therapy, it's important to say, is delivered in public hospitals by state governments, and it's co-funded on a 50-50 cost-sharing basis as part of our hospital funding agreement. So it does require state government agreement to implement the therapy. It only does that after a recommendation from the Medicare Services Advisory Council, MSAC, which you know balances the clinical and cost-effectiveness of a therapy. This question raises a few important points that are missed, frankly, in the question about Tecartus, which is the particular therapy that the member has asked about. The drug company that makes Tecartus, Gilead, made an application to MSAC for approval back in 2020 and 2021 at a particular price that they wanted for the therapy. MSAC approved the therapy as clinically effective, but recommended it be paid a much lower price, and Gilead refused to act on that recommendation. A few months ago, my department approached Gilead to ask them to resubmit their proposal at a lower price, which they did. MSAC then, out of session, approved that price and sent that recommendation to me. I've accepted the recommendation and only a few weeks ago wrote to the state governments asking them to agree for us to act jointly on that. I'm still waiting for a response. That letter only went to them a few weeks ago. They deliver the therapy, and I must really stress this, they have to agree to it. I'm hoping for urgent action on this, and I will keep the member informed as to progress about this particular therapy.
Concluded.